This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Blak Vegas, and I know it's popular to be bashing Microsoft right now after the delays for the Bethesda game kicked off this whole big brouhaha over Game Pass and whether or not it's worth it or not, and that crazy debate and the usual. What properties do Microsoft have? Why should you get an Xbox? Because they don't got no games. Blah 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 blah. And while I'm not trying to be a part of that group, I do want to talk about the rumors that came out about Microsoft being offered by Marvel the Spider-Man IP and also the opportunity to have the rights to produce the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake. Of course, let's start with Spider-Man first. Some exec who was involved in this deal apparently did an interview and claimed that they were bringing the offer to Microsoft, and when they spoke to them, Microsoft responded that they weren't interested because they're trying to focus on making and developing their own IPs and weren't interested in doing a deal like that with another company. I haven't seen much about the Knights of the Old Republic, but it was just said that they were offered a chance to make it or to publish it at least, and they turned it down. And of course, both of those things went to Sony. Knights of the Old Republic remake is being published by Sony and put on PC and PlayStation. And of course, we all know the Spider-Man games are PlayStation exclusive. They handed it to Insomniac while Insomniac was still independent. And now Insomniac is one of their studios, so they own the studio that produced these games, and they have the IP exclusively. And they've been afforded, the Wolverine IP as a result of the success of the Spider-Man games. So a lot of people are feeling some type of way about that because, a lot of people see it as Microsoft dropping the ball. It's funny because I was talking to my boy, and I would say the most negative I have to say about this is that it's weird that they would make that type of decision. Of course, we all make decisions in our past when we're in a different, way of thinking that sometimes we regret. And this may have been one of those for Microsoft, because looking at the landscape of things now and how they are doing business, the idea that they did not want to go out and acquire an outside, IP like that doesn't, kind of rank with how they're doing things now with the purchase of Activision, the purchase of Bethesda, getting all these IPs from buying these big companies and still seeking to buy other publishers to fold in their IPs under their brand. So it's quite interesting to see how things have evolved that way. Because Microsoft has gotten heat for the idea of developing IPs, as a lot of people feel like they just don't do much in that area. You have Halo, you have Forza, you've had Gears games, but outside of that, a lot of people don't see much from them. Now that they've acquired these large companies, of course, they can claim those as their properties. But these games, like the games that were delayed, like Starfield, they were already under development when Bethesda was, independent. So it's not like Microsoft actually came up with these properties. You know what I mean? It's like, Overwatch 2 was going to come out regardless. of Microsoft owning them or not. So it's just very interesting that was their take back then. I just I just see it as it's just like one of those things that it's like how we hear in other areas. Like you hear stuff like people say, well, nobody thought Michael Jordan would have been what he was going to be when he was in high school and he didn't make the team early on in his high school career. And now look at him. He's the greatest basketball player of all time in a lot of people's eyes. Things like that. Like you always see things be told like they didn't think it was going to make it, and then they make it, and they become something that maybe these people live to regret, but at the time you just can't see it. I mean, hey, hindsight is always 2020. That's just the way it goes. We've all made decisions that we've looked back on and been like, yo, why did I do that instead of this? So, but yeah, no need to like just keep banging on Microsoft for this stuff. I mean, hey, it is what it is. It became a bad business decision because Sony made the right moves to make it a great property. Like, who knows if Microsoft would have got it, as my boy Cardiac said, who knows that if they would have got it, they would have given it to an Insomniac or had a studio that could make the game that they made. We've seen shitty superhero games in the past. Who was to say this wouldn't have been another one? Same thing with the KOTOR remake. Who knows what would have happened? And we still don't know if that's going to be good anyway because it's still in development. But you never know. Things fall in place the way they're supposed to, basically. Anyway, as always, you guys feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you're thinking. I'll holler at you later. This your boy Blak, and I'm out. Deuces.